Morning, everybody. Welcome once again. Early in the morning, but Metroid Fusion is up. Fun game for the GBA, and I'd say if tech is ready, then we'll get started soon. So in 3, 2, 1, go! Metroid Fusion, fourth entry in the series, Metroid 4. Basically, the story picks up after Super Metroid. Samus Aran is sent on an expedition to the planet SR388, the planet where the Metroids were originally from, but she exterminated them in Metroid 2, and but got infected by a mysterious parasite instead. And in order to save her, they remove parts from her suit and actually inject her with Metroid DNA in order to combat this parasite. But the infected parts of her suit are sent to the biological space laboratory to be investigated. And not long after, there's a distress signal, and we are being sent to investigate. So that's what we're doing in the first part. Go to the quarantine deck. Now, Metroid Fusion is all about the good things of Metroid. It's platforming, it's collecting items, it's exploration, but it's aboard a space station instead of a planet. Although this space station in particular has some specific environments, since it's a biological research laboratory. Now, you may have seen me do a few things up until now. You may notice that I'm able to jump off of walls in order to boost myself a little bit higher and away from the wall. Unfortunately, unlike Zero Mission, where you can actually stay on one wall and keep on gaining height, you actually get boosted off the wall in this one. So we mostly use it to boost if we gain some distance. Let's see if we can land this. No, try it again. There we go. Metroid Fusion is technically was a little bit simpler, I would like to say, than Metroid Zero Mission is. You don't have advanced threats in the form of bomb jumps, and the story is makes the game a good bit more linear. Doesn't mean that there is no exploration, because you still. When you play this casually, you do a lot of exploration, but it's a bit of a different experience compared to, for example, Zero Mission, which is very fast-paced, full of action. You have a lot of dead moments in this game, such as the elevator rides, the text on the elevators, the text meshing at the start. And doing the text meshing properly is not a trivial thing. You actually have to time your text meshes, or you just need to keep on continuously meshing. In the past, this didn't used to be too much of a trouble, since we go by in-game time, and in-game time doesn't run during the text segments. But we switched to RTA several years ago, so now you do actually need to have proper text meshing. We gain the missiles here. We download upgrades in this game, and that's one of the ways to obtain items. One of the other ways to obtain items is by defeating X-parasites, because the parts of our suit that got infected have infected the life forms aboard this biological space laboratory, and they turn into these monstrous creatures that we fight for upgrades. The reason we're being effective and being sent to this space laboratory is because of the Metroid vaccine. We are immune to the X-parasites, and we can actually absorb them to regain our abilities, which is helpful. For example, you see these zombies down here, and as soon as I kill them, you see this green or yellow parasites coming out of them. Green is ammo, yellow is energy. There we go. Now, before each boss, you have these eye doors, and they fire in between 0 and 4 shots before they open into a state where they can be shot. They take, at this point in the game, 3 missiles to open, but a little bit later down the line, we can kill them in 1 shot. So especially in the early game, you have a lot of RNG on those eye doors. But we're coming up on the first boss, Arachnus. Now, Arachnus is pretty straightforward. It's all about pumping in the missiles into Arachnis. Now, what I did there is I timed it such that 2 missiles damaged the core at the same time. And I'm getting the morph ball here, so that's nice. First boss done. There's so much to explain, and the boss dies before I have the chance to explain. But let me break it down a little bit. You have a normal enemy-like phase where you either kill it using missiles or using beam shots. And after you kill it, it turns into this spiky core, and that spiky core moves across the screen. And what we try to do in a lot of the boss fights is that we try to align firing the missiles into it such that it gets 2 missiles worth of damage. It takes 3 missiles. That core, for example, takes 3 missiles to go down. And because I fired 2 missiles during its spawning, the moment it spawns into the 2 missiles, so it takes 2 missiles worth of damage at once. Now, at later bosses, when they have a little bit more health, what we try to do is we try to fire the missiles in such that they form the sort of a wall of missiles that the core moves into. So that we have double missiles into these cores. It's a bit of a feeling thing. It's something you develop as a runner over time. It's not really something that you can explain precisely, because manipulating those cores is all down to how you move Samus in the game. Now, this fun character here is the one we're gonna encounter a few times during this run. This is our evil clone, SEX. So our ex-parasite invested suit parts turned into this evil clone of us at full strength. And yeah, we'll encounter it a few times, and most of the times we'll dodge it since we have no way to kill it, and it can kill us pretty easily if we really run into it. But for now we get sent to investigate the first sector where the ex-parasites seem to have gone to. Now, each sector has at the start the same build-up. They have a navigation room, a save room, and a recharge room where you can recharge your energy and ammo. And we obviously, to go from sector to sector, for most of the times we have to go up the elevator, down another elevator. So there's really some dead parts during the run, so if the host has anything to say during those, feel free to. That's the general cue from my end.
I do. We have some great incentives still going on. Currently, we still have the TazBot incentive. If you donate to that, or donate in general, or go to that, we can watch TazBot play Mega Man games back to back. And also, if you ever wanted to name your own boat but never had the chance, you can do that now if you donate to the incentive to name the boat for Nantucket, running by Tricro later on today.
Thank you very much. Now, in this sector, the ex-parasites have taken over the air conditioning vents so that they raise the temperature so that they can multiply a little bit more easily. And we get sent to clear out each air conditioning vent. Now, this sector is all about ammo management. We don't have too much ammo. Even if we were playing 100%, for example, we don't have any extra ammo, so it's all about having enough, trying to keep track of our missiles. Luckily, most of the enemies, if you don't get damage, drop the green ex-parasites. So we get our ammo refills, and we should be fine ammo-wise. And yeah, as soon as you clear these vents, the doors open and you can continue into the next room. Do need to be careful with my health. Now, the patterns can be a bit RNG. It can also be happening that this thing is going up when I enter, which allows me to kill it immediately instead of waiting for it to come back up again. Do a little bit of a climbing strat in this room. Careful. Yeah, the enemies can jump in your way sometimes, but we've got them by relatively safe. And I need, for the Idor, I need 3. A minimum, so I am fine, really. Because what I will try for the Idor is to do double missiles. If you time the missiles correctly, they hit the missiles will hit the eye door simultaneously, and you can get double shots in as well. Now this one was tricky to set up and didn't get it at all, so that's an extra round, unfortunately. Oh, no, did completely whiff that. That's fine. Luckily, the RNG is a little bit forgiving. Now, this fight is a beam core axe, and the beam core axe have this opening eye, where you can only damage them with missiles once their eye is open. Now, if I were to run out of missiles, I can shoot the beam core, and it will spawn green X parasites. But right now we receive the charge beam, and the charge beam is a considerable upgrade. Not only does it allow us to charge a beam, but it's a really strong incarnation of the charge beam, because the beam consists of 3 parts, 2 damaging parts that travel along, and 1 part near the core. And if we... Oh. There we go. And if we clip that properly in, we do a lot of extra damage, actually. Do need to be careful with my health here. There we go. And it's basically 3 times as powerful as a non-charge beam, and it's basically eclipses the strength of the missiles firing power. And in this game you'll see missiles get stronger, beam will get stronger, and then missiles get stronger and beam will get stronger. So they trade places in being the strongest way to damage enemies. I will take it a little bit safe exiting here, because I did have some trouble with the clipping, but that's fine. I have a way to easily add some safety. Because for the next sector I do need my health, so actually since I don't have speed booster yet, I'll recharge here. That's fine. Now we exit sector 1 and we get briefed that the X-Parasites have gone to sector 2 as well. And sector 2 is also the place where we can get further upgrades. There's a data room located just like the one on the top main deck. And we can get an upgrade. We get the next item to main upgrade there. Now, this elevator scene, Samus is bothering a bit about how the computer resembles her old commander Adam Malkovich, if I remember the name correctly. It's been a while since I saw the text in English. And yeah, a lot of this run is a good part of this run is this running around between the elevators and going down the elevator, going through navigation room, and receiving the briefing on the next sector, basically, or what we're supposed to do there. Now, this sector, not only do we get updated about the SCX, as our computer commander has found out, but we also get the update that we need to unlock the security levels in this sector first before we're able to go to the data room to pick up our upgrades. Now, Sector 2 is quite a dangerous sector, and what I mean with that, the enemies that in this sector do deal a lot of damage. It's these red worms, which we'll encounter soon, the Zoros. They deal almost half an E-tank if you get hit by them, and since we only have 1 E-tank, that gets depleted rather quickly. So we'll try, but we also want to go fast, so we'll try to kill them as much as possible while still moving on. I managed to do it there. Those Zoros take 2 missiles each, so or a charge beam shot, so that goes to show you how strong the charge beam actually is. Now, if that red worm, red Zoro actually would be moving towards us, firing the 2 missiles into it is a lot tighter timing. So them moving away from us is actually more beneficial since it's easier to kill them. Oh, I also managed a difficult pattern. That's nice. The better you're at it, the safer this sector is, because then you have a lot more health. I've only taken one hit so far, and we're almost at the data room. Oh. I was going for wall jump there. There we go. If you do the wall jump there, you can dodge the enemy entirely. I had to wait out for the enemy because I missed the wall jump. But we get the bombs now. So now in morph ball form, we can lay down bombs and open up blocks in the tunnel. Now we also hear some explosion here, and the SCX has actually blocked off the way we came. So we actually have to find a way around in this sector. Killed that Zoro nicely again. And yeah, Metroid, the formula for Metroid is basically you get an obstacle in your way which you don't know how to get past. Then you get an upgrade that solves that obstacle, and then you get plenty of instances where you have to use that item to solve the obstacles, so to get you more familiar with. For example, with the bombs here. But that goes for most upgrades, for example with the morph ball from earlier, and with items we'll receive from here on out. There's also a lot of hidden items, of which we use mostly use the ones that are in the way. Now, for this run, it is important that we have certain ammo counts. Some later bosses do require a certain amount of missiles to get down. Or at least it's faster if you have enough missiles to shoot them down, since charging a beam does take some time. So in my routes, ideally I'll be picking up 45 missiles. You can do with a 40 missile routes. You can also go a little bit extra with 50. Those ammo counts are mostly of missile packs that are mainly in the way of your path anyway, so they don't cost little to no extra time to pick up. And we're already at our next boss, Zasabi. Now Zasabi is a bit random, and Zasabi has this phase where he jumps around. For the first time he can jumps between 0 and 2 times. Now 0 jumps for the first one. For the second one it's between 1 and 3 times. 2. Not too bad. And for the third one it's between 2 and 4 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, not too bad. So 5 times total, and then the last time he jumps up and we can shoot him down, and we plant a double missile into it and do another double in order to kill the beam, kill the core rather quickly. So that core you saw there takes 4 missiles to go down. I did it in 2 rounds, basically. And we got our next upgrade, which is high jump, but high jump also includes the ability to jump in morph ball form. And a high jump is, well, high jump. It allows you to jump higher, which is what we need to escape this sector. Now here we have our first up-close encounter with the SCX. Running into the SCX deals more damage than we have E-tanks, so we wait for the SCX to exit the room. We can start moving towards the right the moment the SCX shoots the door. In 100% you have a few more E-tanks, so you have the energy to actually tank a hit, and you can do that in order to run straight up to it and actually damage boost through, which is faster. But we have no such luxury in any percent, so we'll just do it normally. Now these red worms, these Zoros, have gone into their cocoon shape, and cocoon shapes and frozen enemies have these interesting properties that if you jump into the side of them, you get put on top of the enemies, which I've exploited a few times in this vertical climb to climb a little bit faster. And we're actually done with Sector 2. And we get, since we opened the first security level, the X-parasites are spreading towards Sector 4 and Sector 3 as well. And we get sent to Sector 4 to try and combat the threat over there. Sector 4, luckily, the elevator is right next to the Sector 2 elevator. Sector 4, I can already tell in advance, has some differences. First of all, the navigation room, safe room, recharge room combo is located towards the left instead of towards the right. It's the only sector to do so. The other ones always go from left to right. This one goes from right to left. And we're heading into the aquatic sector. So lots of water. Most of the water is affected by bare electricity cables, so we don't want to be... So the game advises you to dodge the water as much as you can, since you take damage from it. We do take some dips into the water, but it's simply because it's faster and because your health doesn't go down that quickly. We do that in order to reach the boss for this area, which is a specimen that attacks at high speed called Ceres. Now, one thing you saw me try and do there is, if you're spin jumping and if you shoot a beam, your vertical speed gets reset. And you can do that, and what you can do with that is you can extend your horizontal distance a little bit, which in some cases is desirable, so it allows you to make gaps that you normally can't make. Now here we take a dip into the water. The game intends for you to use this ladder at the ceiling, but that one is slow to use, so we actually just take the dip inside in order to get across, and we bump the thing out on the way. Now dodging all the enemies in here. So far so good. And we're almost at the original habitats of this specimen. But we're in for a bit of a surprise when we get here, as the specimen has been killed by the X-parasites. So the way X-parasites work is they infect a creature, they kill the creature, and then they can copy the appearance and abilities of the creature. That's how the SCX is formed, and that's how all the bosses up until now have been formed. As I should have mentioned before, charge beam and charge beam shot is enough to kill the Idor in one hit, so we only have to go through one RNG cycle of the Idors. And now, a little bit of concentration here. Ceres, the charge beam consists of multiple parts, and by clipping the parts into the shots, we can speed up the fight. I succeeded, since Ceres already has the black coloration, which means that all the parts of the first shot actually hit. And by doing that properly, we can kill the fight in 2 rounds. That is if we get the good pattern from Ceres. Ceres has a bit of RNG in the patterns it can give. Okay, let's see. Okay. That works. Thank you, thank you. Now we get Speed Booster, and Speed Booster is always a fun time in any Metroid game that has it, because after running a while you go fast enough to break through certain blocks, but you can also store this Speed Booster and release it in a Shine Spark, which allows you to move diagonally, horizontally, or vertically in a really fast fashion. Now that's part where I did the Shine Spark. Normally you are not normally able to start a Shine Spark there, but by mashing the jump and the jump button, you're able to start up the Shine Spark there, which saves us from having to bomb the blocks and having to set it up all again. Now, this room, our goal is to charge a Shine Spark on the pump so that we have enough time to break back through the blocks, actually. Otherwise, we have to go down, pick up an extra missile tank, and have to climb back up, which is a little bit slower. Let's see if I can land this. didn't manage. What I was trying to do here was the so-called low height shine spark, like the one I did at the top in that room. So by morphing as you bounce on the floor, you can get shine spark directly above the ground, and that allows you to shine spark right into this tunnel, which is a little slightly faster and saves you from having to set it up back again. But we're exiting Sector 4, get sent to Sector 3, which is a bit of the opposite since it's a sector filled with heat. Any messages right there, Destabilize?
Absolutely. We have a message from one of our sponsors. The BSG announcements are brought to you by the Lewis LCT 440 Pure microphone you're hearing right now. If you're interested in this sort of microphone, feel free to check out their website and get great audio like we do at BSG.
Thank you very much. Now, since each of these sectors has a recharge room, save room, and navigation room at the start, they're long enough to actually start a speed boost and store a shine spark. And we use a shine spark at the end of a sector in order to exit the sector a little bit quicker if I execute properly. It also means that I have to jump through these doors with the elevators to land on the platform, because the problem with stopping holding the direction is that you slide a little bit further along, which means that you go down the elevator slower, so it's faster to actually jump through the door. And in general, shine spark is not used as much as one would think, because the problem with that a shine spark has is that bonking into the wall or ceiling at the end of a shine spark, that bonking animation is a few seconds, and it's slower than actually being in a speed boost and ending it with jumping or landing. Nice thing about Sector 3 is that by just running off the platform, we get this shortcut here to go to the left. Sector 3 has a similar situation to Sector 2, that it has a security level that we need to unlock first. Now, these green doors are not yet open, but we can use this morphle tunnel to activate the security level and open the rest of the sector. Up until before we activate the security level, there's no X-Parasite enemies into this sector, but they all enter right now, as you can see. So, yeah, it's a bit of a necessary evil since we need to collect the upgrade from the data room. And the upgrade we're gonna collect in this sector is actually... oh, didn't break it. Yeah, I need to speed booster to break the blocks. But what I was trying to do was break the blocks and store a shine spark. That allows me to vertically spark up this distance, which is slightly faster than climbing it. But I was a little bit too early on that. Upgrade time that we're gonna get in a bit here in this sector is super missiles. So it triples the power of, if I remember correctly, triples the power of our super missiles. Makes them much stronger. The problem that does come with the missile upgrades is that the missiles also have a longer cooldown time between the shots, as well as a slightly different travel time. So it's much more difficult to actually line up the double missiles for the beam for the core axis. So it makes it so it's difficult to get land the doubles. It is still doable to an extent, but yeah, a bit more challenge. But right here, say hi to Box. Now Box is not infected by X-Parasites yet, but he's a security robot that has gone a bit rogue. And what I'm trying to do is line the missiles up and fire it into them. Okay. I have exactly enough missiles I need for the next sector. I need a minimum of 3. So I actually have to go for this strat. Okay, got it. Getting killing that enemy with charge shots. Oh, that was a mistake on my end. is actually kind of hard. Let's see if I can get a green. No. Also not a green. I actually have to take this here, but that's fine. No luck with the ammo drops. I should be able to get the speed booster if I do this, I think. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So with the super missiles, the missiles become our fastest way to damage enemies, since it's faster to just keep firing missiles than doing the charge beam shots. So for a while, missiles are the strongest, although charge beam still has its uses. And the next sector we get sent to is Sector 6, actually. And the reason we get sent to Sector 6 instead of Sector 5, because we got vaccinated with the DNA of the Metroid, so we gain the Metroid's weakness to cold. And Sector 5 is the Arctic sector, so it's really cold. So we do take damage if we're in a refrigerated area. Sector 6 is the nocturnal area, so it's an area with a lot of darkness. And so it's much safer to take the data room over there. And what we are gonna get in this sector, or what's waiting at the data room, is the data for the Varia suit. And the Varia suit is a suit upgrade which not only means that we take less damage from enemies, but it also makes us invulnerable for heat and heated and refrigerated rooms, so we can actually safely enter Sector 5 after that. But before we can get there, we need to dodge the blue X-parasites, because they do have the data from Sector 5, so they contain ice. So we actually do take damage currently if we absorb them. Now I open up this wall here, because there's a mist tank behind it, and we pick it up on the way out. If you're wondering why I'm bombing that wall. Yeah, luckily those blue parasites can be stunned by shooting them. They're pretty slow, so they're easy enough to dodge, but they can get in awkward places. Such as the one over here. We are trying to get a shine spark here. That was... that's fine, I can take one. Luckily, in this room there's an E-tank. Now, I was hoping to lay that bomb high enough, low enough actually, that I would break the floor and not get boosted way up, but oh well. Now this wall has power bombs. We don't have power bombs, but luckily our evil clone has. And we have a close encounter with the SCX. Not getting a nice pattern on the floor here. So we just let the SCX do the job here. Then lure her to this side of the room. And pass her. What you can also do in this room, but it's much slower, obviously, is just wait for the SCX to disappear. But we're speedrunners. We can dodge the SCX easily enough. And yeah, we're already towards the data room. But a nasty surprise awaits us, because the Core X is able to download the data from the data room and destroys it. So these things are actually quite adaptable, it seems. And this Core X turns into a Mega Core X. And here we do the same thing as we did with Ceres. We clip our charge beam shots into it for more damage. And it actually works quite well. Landing in the water is not ideal, but we'll make it do. This is also the first boss fight I fight with super missiles, so I tried to double. I think that was a double. No, it wasn't. Okay. Oh well. Now, killing the Core X, you try to kill it as much to where the upgrade spawns, because you have a bit of an invulnerability period, and if it spawns if you kill it right where it spawns, then it spawns quicker, which is ideal. We call it the sweet spot. And now we have this awfully colored Varia suit, I say. This is the ugliest Varia suit in the series by a distance. Most of the Varia suits in the series have this nice orange yellow color scheme, but this one has this puke green purple scheme, which is well, not my favorite, but oh well, it's definitely memorable. And as you also saw a few rooms back, we were able to absorb the blue X-Parasites now, and they actually heal a little bit more than the regular ones, so that's a nice added bonus. And we're on our way to the exits. Now these blue puffer enemies, their hitbox expands drastically when you hit them, so we try to steer clear of them as much as we can. But we should be fine now. We're almost at the exit. And we just missile everything out of the way. Now, since the data room in this sector got destroyed, we'll get sent to Sector 5 in order to collect our next upgrade in the data room over there. And luckily, since we have the Varia suit now, we're able to safely enter and traverse that sector. Yeah, it's by now, but once we enter Sector 5, we've entered all sectors at least once. We will be in all sectors at least twice during the course of this game. We're almost at the halfway point, actually. Halfway point is quite literally after Sector 5, so that's nice. And the next upgrade we want to collect is the ice missiles. Since we have the Metroid DNA, we are not able to install Ice Beam like we would have in other games. But we can have the freezing effect added on top of our missiles, which makes them both a little bit stronger, but it's the annoying thing about the ice missiles is that if a missile would kill an enemy, normally it would freeze it instead, which means that enemies don't die less quickly as a result, since you need to fire an additional missile for each enemy. There's no way to skip upgrades in this game, unfortunately, since the story is linear. You need to collect everything in a row. Even in some cases where you're technically able to skip, the game doesn't allow you to skip it since the event system is linear. That is, in some cases, a bit of a detriment to the game, but it makes it a very linear experience. Unlike, for example, Zero Mission, where you are basically able to choose which route you want. But the experience of Fusion is unique. At the time of its introduction, it was really a Metroid game like no other. And it has a lot of bosses, Fusion, really cool bosses as well. It was definitely a step up in that boss variety from Super Metroid, for example. Now, in Sector 5, we face the same problem as in Sector 3 and Sector 2. You need to open a security level first, the yellow security level. Here's a good demonstration of getting put on top of the enemies if you jump into the side of them. And the yellow security level is over here. Now, the confusing part about Sector 5 is that you basically loop around the data room. And you visit Sector 5 the most out of each sector. You visit the sector a total of 3 times. So sometimes you forget to go the right direction. For example, you try to go for the security level even though you've already opened it, or you try to leave the sector right now before getting the upgrade. Actually, this is a mistake that's been made by both inexperienced as well as experienced runners from time to time. So it's good to try and pay attention here and go the right way. I did so for this one, so ice missiles we have right now. And yeah, like I said, ice missiles may make it a bit slower to deal with enemies. the cooldown time between missiles increases further, so it's even more difficult actually to double core access with these missiles as well. And by now, the missiles are however, quite more powerful than the charge beam is, but that will change in the near future, I promise. This room is a little bit of a puzzle to set up for the X-Parasite spawning that platform in order to run across. And we're slowly making our way towards the exit of this area. Any more messages, hosts?
Absolutely. So just wanted to mention, not only does donating help support the Mind charity, it also helps support, will help get us to our goal to have bonus games such as Tazbot, Play, Mega Man. And on top of that, we also offer great prizes you can also win, such as some great Steam codes to win games like Zoe, Streets of Rogue, and then on top of that you can also win some amazing prizes such as an adorable Kirby plushie, MSI headset, disc plate, some awesome paintings such as the Pikmin painting. So if you want to win one of those prizes or even support incentives such as choosing a ship name, be sure to donate. And that's it. Back over to you.
Thank you. Now we're facing a bit of an emergency in Sector 3, or as the meme holds, emergency in Frankfurt. Sector 3 contains the boiler, and the boiler is set to explode after 6 minutes, probably as a result of the X-Parasite trying to take us down. So we need to get to the boiler room as quickly as we can to try and save the ship and our lives. So this is get from point A to point B as quickly as we can. Fun little segment with the timer and the blaring alarm. Okay, managed to get the door. Cool. And yeah, instead of going up in the sector as we did the first time we got in here, we actually go down. And these rooms down are superheated, so our Vario suit comes in handy. We went up previously, we go down now. And yeah, there's lava in these rooms, and it's a fun little track. If we get hit by these lava pillars, we hope that we get hit in such a way that we get boosted towards the left. We also make use of our ice missiles to use these stretchies here as a platform. There we go. We do that a few times during this segment, so let's see. 1, 2... Next room, hopefully we can get it right. Nice. That seems fine. Yeah, 6 minutes is really a lot of time. We need slightly more, slightly less than 2, basically. Oh well, I did miss the shortcuts, so we'll do it like this, I guess. Okay, that's mean game. Come on, there we go. Now this is another beam core X. This is for the white beam, and yeah, we try to line it up such that we can fire doubles into this beam core. And didn't look like I got any, but let's see. White beam received, and we turn off the boilers in yeah, about 1 minute 45 seconds. Yeah, that seems about right. Now the beam, the white beam triples the amount of shots we fire. It's a massive power increase. So right now our charge beam is the strongest weapon we have yet again, and we make our way to the top of the sector in a more relaxed fashion. No timers blaring, no timers and alarms blaring at us. Yeah, this we saved the ship. We saved the ship for now. And yeah, this Fusion is a relatively straightforward run. The game is also not as broken as some other games are. It's only in recent years that we actually found ways to break the game at all that are useful to us as speedrunners. For example, several years ago, the memory corruption was found, and it's a glitch that allows us using power bombs to manipulate some memory values in order to skip a good the last third of the game, basically. It's not a big skip. It's not as glitchy as it is. A similar out-of-bounds glitch that has been found also allows us to get the item collection rate to 0%. Now, in the item collection in this game does not count the major upgrades, since you get the major upgrades anyway. So all the 100 items that make up the 100% are missile tanks, powerbomb tanks, E-tanks. So you can actually do a 0% run of Metroid Fusion, which is low percent category. Without that glitch, you basically have a minimum of 1%, because right before you get the super missiles, that missile tank in the morph ball tunnel is in the way, and you can only skip it by going a little bit out of bounds there. Although technically speaking, there is another way to skip that missile tank, and it involves a shine spark setup with basically 7 frames of error across 3 runes, of which 4 to 5 people have managed to do it in an RTA setting, which is an impressive feat, I'd say. I unfortunately am not one of those people, so and for any percent you do want the missiles to considerably speed up the later bosses in this category. But for now, we get sent to the observation deck because some life signals have been found here that are not X-parasites. So we get to see what they are. Now, today I am, you may not see it, but I'm wearing the Yeti Save the Animals t-shirt, and that's because we're saving the animals, actually. Because the animals are on this observation deck, so it turns out that saving the animals in Super Metroid is actually the canon ending. We saved them here. A little bit of a spoiler, they will be saving us later, actually. Now, the animals in this section here are RNG. Sometimes it happens that they run away from to the right side away from the door when it opens, so that it takes a while for them to get back. It can also happen that they're right in front of the door when it opens and they come out immediately. Can easily give you a time swing of 5 to 6 seconds. Now here you see the fire suit up close in its questionable color scheme, if you ask me. And yeah, we save the animals. They go find a nicer place, and we are gonna get sent back to Sector 5 because the data room over there is still intact, and we're gonna receive our next upgrades, which is actually the power bombs. Power bombs being able to break the power bomb blocks, doing a lot more damage. In this game, they also sort of serve as an X-ray scope since they reveal all sorts of hidden blocks, and they make this nice whoosh sound, which is amazing sound design, honestly. This game definitely tests out the sound chip of the GBA. Although this game also is one of the greatest in terms of atmospheric gameplay, because especially those SVX segments as a casual player can really well, put you a little bit under pressure, since you're being chased by an evil clone of yourself that can kill you if it catches you. So yeah, it's a nice bit of space horror. As we re-enter Sector 5. And for Sector 5, this second visit to Sector 5 will do. Since the security levels are now open, we are able to take a little bit of a different path. And with that different path, we can also employ a Shine Spark. That gets us to the point a little bit quicker. Although the trick is... can be a bit iffy to get. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. That's the first one. Yeah, it's a fun one to get this one. We do that trick in a slightly different fashion when we get to the third visit to Sector 5, but that's a little bit later down the line. First, we get back to the data room. Don't make the mistake here to go for the security level yet again, since it's already open. As I said, it can be easy to mix up the different Sector 5 visits. And we get our power bombs here. So you see these power bombs appear at the top. We get 10 of them when we receive power bombs, and honestly, that's all you need for the rest of the game. You don't need to collect any power bomb ammo tanks, honestly. In Zero Mission, we're stressed for power bombs. In this game, we receive all the ammo we ever need in the world. The total amount of energy tanks, missile tanks, power bomb tanks that are in this game is mind-boggling. It's more than you'll ever need. This game has an overload of ammo. So we dodge the SCX really quickly, doing some good strategy there, and we'll make our way towards the exits. Yet again, similar way. There's some different enemies in the way here, so it's important to get this speed booster here and open the door, because this enemy here can only be killed, aside from speed boost, it can only be killed by a power bomb, and power bombs are a bit slow. Actually, I want that. There we go. And power bombs also gives us this nice little shortcut here, so we don't need to climb at the top. And yeah, once we're at the exits of this area, we actually get sent back to the ship because there's something that our computer commander has to talk to us about. And yeah, so that's a little bit of a trek upwards. So it's gonna be some elevator riding here. Let's see. And yeah, so far I'm doing pretty good, pretty all right on my estimate, I'd say. I have some I have some measurement points to see how what my time is like in Fusion. So far so good, as far as I can tell. Now these enemies here, we do use some power bombs to clear them out. Here you see our good friend Ridley in a bit of a frozen state, and you see an X-Parasite, so I can tell you we're gonna meet Ridley a little bit later. Now these enemies, their spits can put me out of the speed booster. If that happens, I need to use a power bomb and get an extra missile tank in return. A little bit slower, but fine. You can imagine in 0 or 1% that you actually absolutely need to nail that trick. But that's fine. We're back at the ship. Our computer informs us I'll take a safety save, because since we enter the ship anyway. So it's a free save, really. And yeah, the power got turned off by the X-Parasites, and we're getting sent to the reactor to turn it on. And it turns out that the animals actually went to our ship, so they're actually chilling out inside the ship. Now the reason I laid that power bomb down at the bottom there is in order to open the blocks on this wall and head into the reactor area. And yeah, in this reactor area you have these bugs flying around. You will have these bugs flying around in a bit, and they deal a lot of damage. But we also have these Space Pirates clones yet again. Get this energy tank. actually managed to jump over it. That jump is also an important strat to the lower percent categories. I like to jump over it just for fun. But I do pick it up, that E-Tank, because it's absolutely free to pick it up. And a little bit of extra safety doesn't hurt. And we're at the next boss. And the next boss is a tricky one, I'll say. Because the fastest way to do this boss is to have its mouth open. And a mouth can open after dragging you up once, twice, 3 times, or 4 times. But that's RNG, basically. But we damage it first at the start. And then we get grabbed and mesh to get loose. Now let's see. Okay, got a quick open. Now let's see if I did enough damage. No. No luck. Nope. Once. Nope. 2 times. 3 times. 4 times. No luck. And now we're playing volleyball, basically. Because... oh, God. Okay. I'm gonna take it a little bit safe. I do want some ammo for the Core X fight. Oh, God. Yeah, that's why I took the safety save. Okay. Yeah, Yakuza 2 deals a lot of damage, so it's easy to get killed by it. That sets me back a few minutes. I do still need to actively go through the ship talking, but that's fine. This is why I take this safety save, because that boss is dangerous. So let's get a retry on that. The problem with that second phase of Yakuza is it can spin jump quite close to you, and it can be hard to dodge those particles. And those particles deal a lot of damage. So I took a lot of damage, and because you try to get grab to speed it up, you're not exactly super high on health. It's a risk you take, and had a little bit of bad luck there. So, just a retry. It's fine. It's part of the game. That's why I take the save to save. If you have any messages for our audience, Destabilize, feel free to.
Of course. Now would be a good time to remind everyone that if you want to stay up to date with our events, you can do this by following us on Twitter, or X, if you want to call it that, and Instagram under the handle BSG Marathon. Get a behind-the-scenes look at the event and stay up to date with the latest news on our marathons, events, and more. We are also in the process of uploading all the VODs to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/BSG Marathon. Be sure to check it out.
Okay. Second try. Okay. Nope, no luck so far. Come on. Okay. Come on. I am not getting a good RNG, but that's fine. Okay, this should be the one. That's okay. Okay, that's much better. Now I will take that health. Come on, I need that. Those missiles. Okay. 2 times the charm. There we go. Whew. Yeah, Yakuza, as this boss is called, is not the easiest. The bosses in this segment of the game are are definitely difficult, and a few mistakes can definitely snowball into that. But we're on our way. We have the space jump, so we can traverse any vertical distance from here on out. Now, if some of you may have seen the tweet announcing this run, so let me see if I can show you off a little something here. Because upcoming we have another SEX chase sequence. And let me show you how good the AI from a video game of 2002 is. So first of all, we need to freeze it and jump over it. We continue this chase sequence normally. And, well, this is what an AI from 2002 can do. The ultimate hunter. Because it has her knowledge and abilities. That's a little fun AI showcase right there. Yeah, it's the SEX is not super smart in its programming, but that's a limitation, I guess, of the game hardware and the software. That's a little fun, something you can show. So, we turned on the auxiliary power, but turns out there's still the plant life choking the main reactor, so we're gonna clear that right now, and that's our next boss. So it's a really quick boss fight coming up. It's gonna be a plant and another beam core X, actually. Oh. That was unfortunate. There we go. Now, this is the main reason we have 45 missiles. We do need to supplement it a little bit with power bombs and charge beam shots. So this is a good trade-off combination for this boss fight. The reason I was so forward on the ledge is to stop the other spore spewing shooter from shooting at me. And there we go. This is a relatively simple boss fight. It's incredibly hard to get the doubles on this one. But oh well, we defeat the boss and we get Plasma Beam. And Plasma Beam is a really powerful upgrade. Because Plasma Beam allows the beam to travel through enemies and it deals damage per frame the beam is inside of the enemy. So you can imagine that it's pretty strong. So it's really nice upgrades. And now that we've killed the plant life, the main reactor is working again, and we can make our way out. And we actually have entered Sector 2, so we can head out again and be on our way to Sector 5 yet again. Because it turns out that in Sector 5 a big scary life form they had under observation has escaped, and we get sent there to try and deal with it. Computer's also a bit surprised that we managed to recover Plasma Beam since the Galactic Federation hadn't sent Plasma Beam data towards the station, but apparently we recovered it from the X-Parasites themselves, so all is fine. Now, Sector 5 will be a lot different when we enter, because it has been ravaged by this life form that is aptly named Nightmare. And you'll see why it's called a nightmare. Why it's called Nightmare. But the thing is, we can go for the same Shine Spark we did on the first visit, but because everything is destroyed, we can head much further into the sector and towards the new area. And it's one of the longest shine sparks in the game, so it's a really... I hope I can land it on the first try. That would be really amazing. So let's see. There we go. And this goes on and on for a few rooms. You see, its sector is really destroyed, and because the Arctic sections got destroyed, they actually melted down into water. So a good part of this section is actually underwater, and our movement suffers as a result. Luckily, plasma beam is great. Fantastic upgrade. Okay, kill that one in time. And you can already guess a little bit what kind of upgrade we'll be getting next. It's something that helps us in places submerged in water. And yeah, this theme in the background, amazing, sets the tune. We're already at the boss. Let's see if we can land this safety. There we go. We pick this up. Best to not tempt fate after dying against one of the bosses. So I take an extra safety tank. Now this boss is Nightmare. You'll see what's behind the mask in a bit. But first we need to damage this cannon. Now this boss does manipulate gravity. So first we need to get the cannon down, and then it's shooting missiles into this face. The unfortunate part is this face is this face is only 1 pixel wide. So actually, our previous beam would deal more damage to this boss than the plasma beam does, simply because the previous beam is a fixed set of damage, and our current beam is damage per frame it's in sight. Now this boss reacts to your movement, so it's all about how you move that the boss is manipulated. And that went decently fine. Now, at this point, missiles are deceptively hard to double, so if I get one, I'm already happy. But Nightmare is done. And now we gain a much better looking suit, luckily. We get the gravity suit. Gravity suit allows normal movement underwater, so we can speed boost. We take less damage. We don't take damage from lava. So yeah, and this purple looking suit is already much better on the ice, honestly. So I'm really glad with that. But now we need to well, get out of this watery place. So we'll head into Sector 4 actually through this tunnel over here. Let's see if we can land this space boost. Now, space boost is a trick where you combine the space jump with the speed boost. It's satisfying to land that one, honestly. And in order to escape this sector, we need to activate the red security level, so the last security level. And the game also wants you to collect the fusion missile. Technically speaking, you don't need to get the diffusion missiles actually in order to exit. You can do an complicated set of shine sparks to actually get to the top of Sector 4 as well. The game actually recognizes this and gives you a secret message as a result, but also tells you, yo, you should get the diffusion missiles. So it's like, haha, well done, now get them anyway. Because the game does not allow you to sequence break, but this is the only place where you can quote-unquote sequence break. Which is really interesting. Now, lower Sector 4 is deceptively dangerous, I should say. Because the enemies in this sector deal a ton of damage, and before you know it, you're really low on health. So the extra AE tank I picked up is well, definitely comes in handy over here. So I'm glad for that. Use this enemy here. Now this enemy is always in the way. Kind of got used to it. There is an RNG pattern where he's out of the way, but I rarely get that one. The space boost through that segment, and we climb to the top of this room. And luckily you can do so before most of the enemies spawn, so it's relatively safe. And we're already at the data room for Sector 4, where the diffusion missile data awaits us. Now, the Galactic Federation hasn't told us that the data is actually here, but our computer commander will be surprised that we actually got this once we get back to the navigation room. Now, the fusion missile is this sort of charging up your missile shots. You do so by holding the missile button, and it charges up. And then once you fire it, this diffusion effect spreads out and kills everything, destroys every block that has the missile property, or freezes, spreads the freezing towards enemies in its range. We do get sent now to Sector 6, because remember Box from earlier? Well, that robot has gone a little bit further rogue, since he got infected by an X-Parasite, and we are sent to deal with it. And for some reason, they don't want us to be into Sector 6 for a long time. Apparently they got something to hide over there, which we'll find out in a bit. But for now, we'll get sent to deal with this threat. And yeah, Sector 6 is a little bit different from our first visits. I do see I am slightly low on health, so in order, because the next boss is dangerous, next boss can be a run killer. It has killed runs on marathons. Not for me per se, but for others, so I am not gonna tempt fate. Take it a little bit easier on that one, so that we have an optimal chance of survival. Now, Sector 6, it's quite easy to get through with overpowered beam, gravity suit, but we take a little bit of a different path right here. Since we now have power bombs, so we can move through here. Thanks for the health refill. And we go towards this hidden part of Sector 6. Now, a little bit of spoiler. This room is going to be the room where we'll fight the boss. But first, we need to check into this corner over here. Those blue puffers were really in the way there. And yeah, we don't have the proper authorization, apparently. No entry without authorization. Don't worry, we will enter without the authorization, but first we need our next upgrade, which we'll get from our good Xbox over here. Aptly named. Oh, and let's see, he works similarly, but he fires projectiles instead of this fire column. And the dangerous part of this fight is not per se this part, but it's the next phase, because once Xbox dies, it'll be a beam core fight, and you have little room to dodge the beam, actually. And the beam we're about to get is the wave beam, and this beam allows us to shoot through walls, so we can actually open that gate a little bit further into the sector. Xbox is done. And let's see for what we would require authorization, because our computer commander said, yo, kill the security robot and get out of this sector as soon as you can, for some reason. And we'll find out what's actually in here. Now, do remind, a little bit of a reminder, At this point, the Metroids are normally extinct, but it turns out that the Federation actually has this secret laboratory where they actually made Metroid clones from the DNA of the last Metroid that we once delivered to a research laboratory in Super Metroid. And yeah, they are in here. Now, the SCX followed us into this place, but the SCX gets overwhelmed by the Metroids here, and we have a minute to escape this hidden laboratory, which is pretty easy to do. It takes 6-7 seconds. And this sector gets, this laboratory gets jettisoned into space. And the SCX with it. Well, happy ending, right? Well, no. We went out of line. We shouldn't have done this. Samus does ask questions about why. But it turns out the Federation did want to research the Metroids. But what the computer commander also revealed is that there's multiple SAXs aboard the ship. No less than 10 SAXs. Because, well, SAXs multiply quite quickly. So, yeah. We get asked to go to the top of the sectors, and they'll see how they're going to deal with the issue. Now, this sector is, this part of Sector 1, which we enter right now, is similar a bit to Turian in terms of design. From the original Metroid, we take another safety E-tank, but this is, yeah, we're getting close towards the end. We can clip through frozen enemies by space jumping a little bit. But yeah, it's all about surviving and getting out. Now, we still need one more upgrade before we're able to make it out, actually. And that's the upgrade we're gonna get from our next boss, which is the final regular boss before the last bosses of the game. Now, these golden space pirates, you have to. The game intends you to shoot them in the back, but the way the game checks is to see if you're facing the same direction as those golden pirates. So by firing a shot and quickly turning around, you can kill them. It's fun now they programmed that. And now, remember I mentioned Ridley? Well, here he is. We're gonna face this Ridley cone, and it's gonna be loud. Now, the nice thing about wave plasma is it is incredibly powerful, and it deals damage per frame it's inside of the enemy. And by firing it diagonally into Ridley and firing it as it travels left as well, it deals a ton of damage to Ridley, and Ridley goes down really quickly. Now, since we have the fusion missiles, which also increase the cooldown time of the missiles, it's really hard to get doubles on this one, but we'll try. Nope, no, not getting them. But yeah, the core axes, by now, they're not really too dangerous. And Ridley is down. And we get Screw Attack. Now, Screw Attack basically means any non-boss enemy you space jump into, you spin jump into, dies. It's really nice, a good end game upgrade. And now we can finally head towards the top of Sector 1 and head out. I do say it's gonna be a little bit close on estimate due to my untimely death against Yakuza, but we'll see. Not sure how I exactly stand towards estimates. It's gotta be close though. So even if I go over it, shouldn't be much. But that's fine. Now we're coming up towards the top of Sector 1, but at the end of Sector 1, right at the top, we have the lengthy series of text meshing coming up. It's 1 or 2 minutes, so quite a segment. So honestly, once I enter that, feel free to start reading some messages because it'll be a little bit. We're almost we're close to the top. You also see this discarded Metroid shells. We'll understand their relevance a little bit later as we enter the navigation room segment. So, hosts, please.
Perfect. Just want to say, if you're enjoying this marathon and you're hungry for more after it finishes, we also have other great marathons that we support, such as IndieFon is a tri-annual marathon showing off the best of indie games. The next marathon is coming up on the 3rd of November. For more information, please check out indiefon.com. There is also UK BSG coming up next month. Let me get the date of that. That is held in Scotland, Glasgow. And that'll be run between the 23rd and 24th of September, and that'll be an in-person marathon. If you ever wanted to go to a marathon, that'd be a great opportunity.
Okay, last bit of text meshing here before we headed towards the final 2 bosses of the game. And it turns out actually that this computer commander is a digitized version of our old commander, Adam Malkovich. And once we explore. Turns out that the Federation actually wants to try and capture this SAX, but which would be absolute suicide, because his X parasites are a threat to the galaxy. But our commander actually agrees, so he gives us a tip to alter the course of the space station to crash it into the planet SR388 and blow the space station up together with the planet and eradicate the X parasites once and for all. Now, little bit of a spoiler, Metroid Dread's next game in the series will show that this will not exactly be 100% true, but we eradicate most of them, so it's gonna be fun. As we're almost at the end. I think I'm gonna be slightly overestimate. Something in the range of 1 or 2 minutes. But that's only 1 out of 4 runs of me overestimate, so it's fine. We'll try and do this as best as we can. Now, for the SCX fights coming up, what we'll try to do is freeze it on the platform and damage it as much as possible using diagonal shots. It can happen that the SCX escapes that predicament, and then we have to do a bit of more of a direct hands-to-hands boss fight down the stairs, but that's what I'll be going for here. So let's see. Trigger boss fights. Oh. Yeah. Okay, the SCX. Play nice. I fell down, so we'll do it this way, I guess. Shouldn't take too long. That is mean. Okay. Okay, that's next phase. Next phase is easy, since it'll be jumping around, but if you fire it up, the dreams travels with it and it kills it almost instantly. Okay, and this Beam Core X we can trap under the platform. Take 6 shots. You can try and land doubles, but they're really hard to get, so I'll just go for safety here. It's 1 more. Now this upgrade we can't collect afterwards, but we'll alter the course and set this spaceship to crash. and go for a classical escape sequence. Because what Metroid game is it's not a Metroid game unless you have an escape sequence at the end. So we go down, we go towards our ship in the docking bay. We will have, in the docking bay, we will get a little bit of a boss fight remaining because, well, we'll see when we get there. Oh. Come on, there we go. Yeah, a little bit overestimate is what's gonna be. Oh, no shine spark towards the docking bay. As you see, the hallway here is quite messed up for some reason, and we'll find out in a few seconds the reason why. Because turns out that one of the Metroids survived the laboratory, and those discarded Metroid shells was because this Metroid was slowly growing into its final stage, the Omega stage. So this is an Omega Metroid. SCX actually comes to help us since the Metroids are the natural enemy of the X-Parasites. But it's no match for the Omega Metroid, and we absorb the SCX to get the Ice Beam and our old suit colors back. Now what we could try to do here, and what we managed to do here, is to stun lock the enemy and beam it into oblivion. That's the final boss done. Now, time will be once I face forward when I enter the ship. So get ready on time. Time. Okay, I managed. Unfortunately, not underestimated, but that's what you get for dying to a boss. Could be a little bit better, but was other than that pretty decent, I'd say. So not gonna be holding up much longer. I mean, you could watch the credits and the ending screen, but for any percent, it's not too interesting. So I would suggest throwing it back over to you and watch a few more runs. This is my last run. So I want to thank BSG for having me on the stage 4 times. It's really an honor to show off the runs I've done for you. I'll be on tech a few more times, and yeah, I want to wish you all a pleasant remainder of the marathon, and see you later. Back to you.
What a great one by Boxmeister. Up next, we have a game called Wendy der Traum von Arizona from Genesis. I've heard if you love horses, you will not want to miss this run. Stay tuned.